The axe has fallen on the judiciary's top administrator over allegations of questionable procurement deals that could cost the taxpayer well over 5 billion shillings. Members of the Judicial Service Commission meeting in Mombasa today unanimously resolved to recommend to immediately send the Judiciary Chief Registrar Gladys Boss Shollei on compulsory leave for failing to competently supervise the construction of the Milimani Law Courts building that is already in a state of disrepair barely 2 years after its acquisition and refurbishment in an exercise that was originally set to cost 600 million shillings but ended up costing 1 billion shillings. Questions on the competence of the construction work at the Milimani Courts building began when the country's top judge, Chief Justice Dr. Willy Mutunga, toured the facility in November 2011 and noted that the building was already in a state of disrepair months before the courts were moved from the old Nairobi Law Courts premises in the city center that were eventually allocated to the Supreme Court. Dr. Mutunga was not in Mombasa for the Judicial Service Commission meeting today that resolved to send Shollei on compulsory leave. She has been in Canada since the 5th of this month on official duty. The Commission's report has already been forwarded to Dr. Mutunga, and he has convened a full Judicial Service Commission meeting on Monday coming week to receive a full briefing on the resolution to send Shollei on compulsory leave and a final decision to be made on the matter. But even before the Commission resolved to send her on compulsory leave to pave way for investigations into the alleged procurement scam, Shollei had in a statement absolved herself from the alleged impropriety. She stated that as the institution's chief accounting officer, she had established mechanisms to clean the judiciary. She said, and I quote, "In the last 2 years, the judiciary has embarked on a massive program for reforms including financial accountability and transparency." End of quote. Shollei went on to blame her predicament on what she called old corruption networks that have been dismantled by the new watertight systems that have been put to ensure that no impropriety takes place in the institution. Shollei further welcomed any official audit from Parliament, Treasury or any other institution, pointing out that all procurement proposals must be approved by the Judicial Service Commission. The Judicial Service Act outlines the functions of the Chief Registrar as the person who is the overall boss in charge of administration and management of the judiciary. This includes financial operations and human resource management. The Act also sets out the process of suspension of the Chief Registrar and the circumstances that can trigger her ejection from office. This includes misbehavior, incompetence, and violation of the provisions of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity. Before her removal from office, the law requires that Shollei be informed in writing of the case against her and be given reasonable time to defend herself against the grounds cited for her intended removal. The Chief Registrar's fate will be clearly known on Monday when the full Judicial Service Commission meets under Dr. Mutunga's chairmanship to deliberate on the resolution to send her on compulsory leave. Francis Gachuri, Citizen Weekend, Mombasa County.